You're watching TV 27, brought to you by the law offices of Attorney Dan Newlin.
Weather Alert Day is that next level up from just your ordinary storm system.
Because it's about your safety. That's why we issue a Weather Alert Day.
This is not your ordinary storm system, and we need to just give you more notice.
With Early Warning Doppler 9 and the technology behind it, we have the most powerful tools here in Severe Weather Center 9.
Everything comes together to give you the most advanced notice.
We're here as a team to keep you covered,
giving you the facts and letting you get your family prepared. That's our job with Weather Alert Day.
Strong storms hammered parts of Central Florida, prompting tornado warnings in several of our local counties and a ground stop at Orlando International Airport.
I think we'll be here for a while.
On WFTV tonight, we're showing you some of the hardest hit areas and the impacts they're having on hundreds.
Just going to try to wait it out, and if not, just try to find a hotel to go to until then.
Then the family of this local father wants to see his killer behind bars. They say he was turning his life around, even opening a business when someone shot him in downtown Orlando.
I want justice, like, for our family.
What we're learning about the moments leading up to this video and the victim's final moments as his car crashed into a building.
And a little bit of relief is coming for some residents who've complained about nasty water for years.
Very moggy and boggy and murky.
The action local leaders just took today to fix the problem.
This is WFTV Tonight.
A very busy Weather Alert Day has come to an end, finally. But the effects of stormy weather today could linger across Central Florida for a while. Good evening, I'm Greg Warman.
And good evening, I'm Martha Sagowski. Our team of meteorologists all day long. We're live bringing you a look at all the conditions as back-to-back tornado warnings were issued across our area. Fortunately, we were spared any major damage, but that weather did bring operations at Orlando International Airport to a halt.
A ground stop, Martha, had been in place for about 5 hours, delaying hundreds of flights at Orlando International Airport, and some travelers won't be making it to their destinations tonight. At least 60 flights have been canceled at the airport today, and that's where we find Raphael Pierce. And Raphael, you talked to folks who were forced to make contingency plans due to this Weather Alert Day.
Yeah, Greg, the weather causing some serious headaches for travelers. And actually, when I spoke to a lot of people earlier today, they had no idea when they were going to be getting to their destinations. A long day for a lot of people. However, it does seem like most of the people we spoke with did end up in their destinations tonight. But we do know that there are still a lot of delays right now, and there are still those cancellations. For now, reporting live from Orlando International Airport, I'm Raphael Pierce, WFTV Tonight.
Raphael, thank you. Along the Panhandle, the National Weather Service says there were several tornadoes near Defuniak Springs, Panama City, and another that crossed I-10 near Mariana. This morning, so far, we have no deaths that have been reported in that area, but several people were injured this morning. And as you can see behind me, the line of storms that we were tracking here this afternoon shredded through homes to our north this morning. ABC's Alex Stone has more on the impacts being felt up and down the East Coast. And in Florida, Governor DeSantis declared the state of emergency back here for 49 of our counties. That proclamation will free up resources for cities hard hit in the Panhandle. Martha.
All right, Greg, Certified Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry joining me now with a closer look at the timeline of today's severe weather. And Tom, it seemed like tornado warnings were just popping up in our area.
Yeah, kind of like whack-a-mole. Yeah, that's
whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole. Yeah, we'd have a storm here. This started right around 2 or 3 o'clock, and all the way back to last Sunday morning when I filled in for Cassie. We issued the weather alert day for today. The timing was 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and that timing was very steady all the way through. But fortunately, the main storm, Martha, went way north, so we had some squalliness. No reports of damage.
That is the good news.
That's amazing. Let me show you what we have left over here tonight. I'm going to walk over here. Right. We've got a cold front that's on the way through, and still a chance for some activity in deep southeast Florida, but all the watches and warnings have long expired. Still some light showers right along the front. That's the last bit of rain with this, but we had some gusty winds, 59 miles an hour at the International Airport, the highest amount that we picked up from our official reporting sites throughout the region today. And thankfully, it wasn't any worse than when we covered. Tonight, cooler and dry. Tomorrow, we get our sunshine going. Coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk about some scattered rain back in the forecast again as we have yet another storm system coming through. But it's going to be cooler starting out the day tomorrow. 30s and, well, 30s well to the north, 40s, mid 40s, and right around 51 in Metro Orlando. We need a day to relax my voice. Too much talking today, but we're going to be updating future track timing out our next system and even one after that as we get into early next week. Martha?
Well, everyone trusts you, Tom, so that's why you're so busy today. All right, thank you. It's days like these that really put the importance of weather coverage into perspective. And while today's weather alert day is behind us, we want to encourage you to prepare for any and all weather threats. If you haven't already, make sure you download our free WFTV weather app. That way you never miss an alert from Tom and our team. It's available on the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
In other news, right now, Orlando police still searching for the person who killed this father over the weekend. They say Terry Rivers was shot in a parking garage as bars were closing downtown. Witness video captured the moments that followed. They show that Rivers' car crossed the street and then crashed into a building with him inside.
Tonight, Sabrina Maggiore spoke to his family about what they believe motivated the shooting as well as the justice they're seeking for his murder.
Anyone with information about this case is being urged to contact the Orlando Police Department or Crime Line.
The Orange County Sheriff is standing against a proposal to let people as young as 18 buy a rifle in Florida. Right now, you have to be at least 21 years of age. The potential change could reverse part of a law enacted after the tragic 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Sheriff John Mina says lowering the age to 18 again would be a huge mistake.
Say a young person who's been involved in crime and gangs and violence their whole childhood to turn 18 and be able to walk into a gun store and purchase a rifle.
During the 2023 session, the House passed a similar bill, but the Senate didn't address the issue. State Representative Bobby Payne, who sponsors the current bill, says he wants to give Second Amendment rights back to law-abiding adults. The 60-day-long legislative session started today. Coming up, we're going to update the other priorities that lawmakers are taking on in Tallahassee.
Also ahead, a local man says thieves stole the trailer he uses to make a living. The technology he was able to use, though, to track down the stolen property and solve his own case. But first, finally, some relief for some East Orange County residents who have complained about nasty water for years. We're walking you through the $12 million overhaul approved today.
Sky Witness 9 on Channel 9 Eyewitness News, bringing you closer to the scene during live breaking news. Sponsored by Attorney Dan Newland.
Central Florida is getting real about inequality, digging into the important issues that impact us all.
From policing reforms, healthcare, and affordable housing for all.
These are the hard conversations we have to have, and Eyewitness News is committed to bringing you these stories.
It's an opportunity for all views to be heard from West Orange County to the Space Coast.
Together, we'll find solutions and create real change. Central Florida gets real on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
The East Orange County community will finally see a major overhaul of its water service after years of complaining about nasty water.
Yeah, it's gross. Today, Orange County commissioners finally approved a $12 million project. It will help extend utility pipes to the more than 300 homes in the Bithlo area. Nick Pampantona spoke to residents in the community who say they spend a lot of their own money right now buying water that's safe to drink.
We're getting a new look tonight at the pursuit and arrest of a motorcyclist who tried to take off from deputies.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. Can you be careful, please? I got a bad. Please, ow.
According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, Neil Elder refused to pull over after running a stop sign in Ocklawaha last Friday. Deputies say he took off right there at a high rate of speed with a passenger on his motorcycle. Concerned for that individual, they stopped their chase until Elder was spotted again near the Silver Spring Shores District Office. Eventually, he pulled over, tried to hide the motorcycle, and was arrested. Deputies say they found fentanyl in his possession and was driving with a suspended license on an unregistered motorcycle.
And more now on the strong storms that tore through the southeast. This picture and video shows a tree that fell and crushed a vehicle on a highway in Clayton County, Georgia. Police say the driver inside was killed. And in Alabama, at least 2 people died as the storm swept through Houston and Jefferson counties. A tree fell on another vehicle in Birmingham with a man inside, and an 81-year-old woman was inside her mobile home in Cottonwood when a tornado touched down and flipped the structure several times. And we have seen a lot of that from Florida, just not here in central Florida.
Dodged the proverbial bullet on that.
Got
and
lucky.
the main storm system, which I can see back behind me, is way to the north. So had it been closer, it would have been a lot more severe weather for us here. A wallop for sure to the north. Let me show you this big winter storm that's now dumping heavy snow, St. Louis, Chicago, Great Lakes, and good riddance there. But for us, we were on the stormy side, still severe weather along the mid-Atlantic. And the closer you are to the surface low, the winds are all swirling different directions, and that creates that additional threat for tornadoes. And across North Florida, the deep south, of course, they had the tornado come through, several. So we're keeping an eye on just a few lingering showers. Our severe weather threat is over. Thank you very much. 60 degrees currently in Metro Orlando. We will see temperatures drop a little bit more overnight tonight. We're 59 up in Sanford, 57 Ocala, all the way into Palm Coast. Celebration hour by hour. Temperatures dropping 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m. You can kind of see the cold air starting to roll through, but not that much colder than is normal. This is about an average night here for early January. 43 up in Ocala, about 46 over at New Smyrna. So we took the storm system on through. A chillier day tomorrow. Temperatures back in the 60s. I guess chilly is all relative, right? But we have another storm system that'll be coming in with some more rain late this week. But let's enjoy tomorrow along the beach in Daytona. 50s in the morning and then back in the lower 60s with sunshine. So about 10, 15, maybe 18 degrees cooler than it was earlier today when we got close to 80 degrees. Tomorrow, sunshine, 65 with a northwest wind. That is still pretty doggone nice. And the European model, which did, again, the Euro, the American GFS, our short-term IBM models, all did a really good job. For once, they were all on the same page with the timing of the storm system that came through. So for tomorrow, more sunshine, some late day clouds start coming on by, and then we get another storm system diving in, another winter type storm system, and that's going to start to lift up the showers and give us a chance for some rain. That's going to be late Thursday night and early on Friday. Coming up a little bit, we'll extend this out all the way into the upcoming weekend. In fact, all the way into next week, because we have not one but two additional storm systems. I do not expect to see the same amount of severe weather this far south with the next two for Friday and for Monday. Let's hope that stays that way. 65 tomorrow, more clouds on Thursday, holding in the mid 60s, and then showers coming in on Friday, and we'll talk more about that, including not too bad of a weekend. Martha, when I see you again.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Tom. A local man became his own detective after he was the victim of a crime. The technology that helped him track down his own stolen trailer. When we come right back.
Weather from Severe Weather Center 9 is brought to you by the law offices of Attorney Dan Newland.
A Central Florida businessman says when his $20,000 trailer was stolen from him last month, he was hopeless and thought it would never be found.
Yeah, for weeks, investigators seemed to not have any leads or who stole it. But as our Ashlyn Webb explains, a $30 device and a ping to that man's phone helped him crack the case himself.
This evening, the Orange County Sheriff's Office told us that they have seized multiple stolen vehicles in addition to Carbassian's stolen trailer. However, they wouldn't comment on if there have been any arrests. Those little air tags can they can help you in so many different ways.
They helped you found some luggage, I think, one time.
Yeah, luggage. It was lost for months. They found it in Dallas in an old storage building because that's where lost luggage goes to be lost.
But then they found it. All right. Many people on the Do Not Call registry are getting calls anyway.
Up next, the calls people are answering the most and how you can avoid getting them.
And NASA is delaying the next step in the return to the moon. Coming up, how much longer you'll have to wait for the Artemis 2 mission to launch from our Space Coast.
Live Doppler 9 radar on Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Using advanced technology to give you early warning. During severe weather, trust the latest tools in the hands of the most experienced team. Only on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
As storms pounded the Panhandle today, destroying homes like these, just about every government building in North Florida was closed for the day, except one, the state capitol, stayed open for the start of the legislative session.
As part of that process, Governor Ron DeSantis returned to Florida. As political reporter Christopher Heath explains, the stop may have been brief, but for DeSantis, it was a chance to once again set the agenda for the state.
Also in Tallahassee, there's now a proposal to allow open carry in Florida. A House Republican in Southwest Florida filed that proposal today. The bill would also allow lawmakers to carry concealed guns to legislative meetings and in the state capitol complex. If signed into law, the changes would take effect immediately. Meanwhile, 2 new bills filed today could once again protect the identity of crime victims in Florida. Last November, the Florida Supreme Court ruled that a 2018 constitutional amendment known as Marsy's Law does not shield crime victims' information, including law enforcement officers. One bill defines a crime victim and their rights. It includes law enforcement officers who use deadly force on the job. The second bill allows crime victims to decide if their identity is released publicly.
Tonight, analysts are calling Florida's tax system the most backwards in the nation, where working class people are disproportionately footing the bill. The study published by the Institute of Taxation and Economic Policy showed the lowest earning workers spend 13% of their earnings on taxes. Middle class workers spend 10% and the wealthiest spend just 3%. They say that's because Florida doesn't have an income tax and relies primarily on sales taxes. The analysts called on politicians to adjust the state's tax code to give low and middle class earners a break.
Our tax system is upside down, and despite our reputation, it's low-income people who are families with low income who are spending more on state and local taxes.
Studies show the state's income tax evens the playing field, and all workers spend between 10 and 12% of their earnings on taxes.
Today marks 7 years since the deaths of 2 law enforcement officers in the line of duty.
Markeith Lloyd shot and killed Orlando Police Lieutenant Deborah Clayton in a Walmart parking lot back in 2017. At the time, Lloyd was on the run for the deadly shooting of his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Sade Dixon. Today, we spoke to Orange County Sheriff John Mina about Clayton's death and the death of Deputy Norman Lewis. Lewis died in a crash while responding to Clayton's killing.
For these heroes who risk their lives for this community.
A jury found Lloyd guilty, and a judge later sentenced him to death for Clayton's murder. Clayton left behind a husband. They had been married just a year. Her husband says she wanted to make a difference in a community dealing with violence and wanted to bridge the gap between the people and police. Greg?
And Martha, tonight we are just 6 days from the Iowa caucuses. Today, Nikki Haley in Iowa, boosted by a new poll in New Hampshire showing her closing in on Trump within single digits, in fact. Reporter Rachel Scott is in Iowa, where Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to return after those comments that he made here in Florida.
Former President Donald Trump back in a D.C. courtroom today. His legal team argued an appeals court should throw out his criminal case stemming from his actions after the 2020 election. He claims he's protected by presidential immunity. Trump's team argued a former president cannot be put on trial for any crime related to the office unless first impeached and convicted by Congress. The federal prosecutor says presidents are not above the law.
I think it's paradoxical to say that his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed allows him to violate criminal laws.
Jury selection in this case is supposed to start 1 month from today. If the panel of judges decides to allow it to move forward, Trump's team will likely appeal again to the Supreme Court.
There were more flights canceled today amid ongoing inspections of some Boeing jets. We told you last Friday an Alaska Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing when the door plug blew off. The flight was headed to Southern California with nearly 180 passengers. The National Transportation Safety Board now says it's not sure whether the bolts that were supposed to hold the door plug in place were ever installed.
We don't know if the bolts were loose. We don't know if bolts were in there fractured, or possibly the bolts weren't there at all.
Workers at an NTSB lab in D.C. plan to examine those bolts.
Covering our Space Coast, NASA is delaying its Artemis 2 mission until September of 2025.
Another year later, it was previously scheduled for November of this year. Channel 9's Melanie Holt found out NASA also has to push back its return to the moon with astronauts. All right, Mel, thank you. The National Do Not Call Registry was supposed to put a stop to those annoying robocalls that we all get, but a new report says otherwise. Coming up, how you can actually avoid being scammed by one of those calls. Tom?
Right now, we have some clearing conditions after a very busy weather alert day, but we have another system I'm tracking on the way before the weekend.
The National Do Not Call Registry was supposed to put a stop to those annoying robocalls.
Clearly, it hasn't worked. A new consumer report reveals the Federal Trade Commission received more than 2 million complaints last year. Those are just the people who called to complain. Our Washington correspondent Samantha Manning explains how you can avoid scams targeting you through those calls.
A years-long restriction at Disney World is gone. People can now use park hopper tickets at any time. Since 2021, guests had to wait until 2 in the afternoon to switch parks, and starting this Thursday, Disney will start Good to Go days. Annual pass holders can visit the parks on certain days without any reservations.
Tomorrow's going to be a great day.
Yeah, boy, it's going to be clear after we went through what we went through today.
It was amazing. Woke up today and it felt like so soupy and humid, and then tonight it was back to being nice and cool.
Yeah, and you felt that wind we had this morning. We had wind gusts 41 miles an hour before we got the storms. That's all that energy feeding up into the storm itself. And our weather alert day certainly verifying our peak wind gusts today, 59 miles an hour at the International Airport, where, of course, they had a multi-hour ground stop and a mess there trying to get travel through the area. But it is what it is. As I say, there's a line of severe storms. Tornado warning came through the airport. Right now we have mostly fair skies and really very light issues from the storm. We don't really have any damage reports. One of the reasons why I think we escaped some of the worst of this, we still had lots of warnings. It was Warnageddon back here earlier today. But see how far north this big winter storm is. And sometimes we can develop a little surface low over the Gulf, which can keep a lot of rotation near Florida. Instead, we had the rotation up around I-10 to our north. And for the most part, that lifted north along with that storm. So we had some pretty squally winds, had some tornado warnings, but nothing that was overly ambitious as far as becoming a big storm for us. Right now we have some showers left over in Merritt Island after some stormy weather earlier today. Our live current conditions still slowly cooling down 50s to near 60 degrees. And for Celebration, as we take you through the late night hours, temperatures slowly falling hour by hour, right around 50 at 8 o'clock in the morning. And that is about where we normally would be this time of the year, with 50s in Brevard County, 48 up in Sanford, 43 in Palm Coast, and also over in Ocala. For Metro Orlando, normal highs around 72 degrees. We're getting into the coolest time of the year on average, my favorite time of the year, when the humidity is mostly gone and temperatures are cooler. We're going to warm up gradually through the day, back into the middle 60s for highs tomorrow. If you're working outside, no rain in the morning, no rain in the evening. Thank you very much. And winds out of the west-northwest at 10. Wind gusts up to 15, but overall, a great day for outdoor activities. Here's a look at future track as we take you through the next several hours. Tomorrow, here's 1 o'clock. We will get wall-to-wall sunshine, and then we get the clouds rolling right back in again. A couple of showers moving in by late on Thursday evening. Here's 9 o'clock. Keeping an eye on a couple of heavier downpours as we cross over to early Friday morning, and still moisture feeding in on Friday afternoon. This will lead to a better chance for some rain by the end of the week, but it looks like a pretty good beach day if you have plans there tomorrow with mostly dry skies. And that storm system kicking on through. Again, we get the clouds. We get a few more showers on Friday. Here's the European model, and this is going to be our next storm system, but it's much less energetic. So we're going to see some scattered showers Friday into Saturday, but I don't think we're going to have the same kind of severe weather threat that we just came through. And we came through this one remarkably well, I will say. And then Monday into Tuesday, yet another storm system coming through. We may have a better chance for some gusty storms with this one, but knock on wood, we made it through the first one just fine. 7-day forecast, weekend always in view, 65 then 64 with clouds on Thursday. Showers, maybe a rumble of thunder on Friday, 70% chance you get rain, but it's not going to be a washout. For the weekend, cooling down a bit, overall nice, and that next storm system Monday into Tuesday will bear better scrutiny. Alex, over to you.
Hey, Tom, the Magic are off to their best start since the 2011-12 season. They already have 21 wins, but tonight their road got tougher against the Timberwolves. See if the Magic are able to compete with the top team in the Western Conference when we come back.
Download the WFTV weather app. Get a localized forecast from Tom Terry. Just search WFTV. Brought to you by the law offices of attorney Dan Newland.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 407-888-8000.
The Orlando Magic are off to a 21-15 start, their best record through 36 games in over a decade. This team is legit, and tonight they had a big test at the Kia Center. when you elevate your program to the Big 12, instead of playing like Tulsa and SMU, you're playing Kansas and some big boys like that.
Hello.
Houston, Texas. I mean, it's going to be a gauntlet of teams over there at UCF.
Yeah, and Kansas is so good.
I'd be surprised if UCF kept it within 2025. Kansas is no joke. National title contender. Sold out crowd, though. Pretty special.
Yeah, you get a chance to see those top-ranked teams, like elite teams.
And you got to see what you want to. You got to see what you want to be too.
Yeah. Hey, they're just getting started. UCF. Right now, we've got showers along our East Coast. Waking up on your Wednesday. Winds out of the northwest. We'll get our sunshine going tomorrow. Beautiful day. I will take it. I may even have to bring the other Mustang with the top down tomorrow.
There you go.
Going top
After
down.
this weather alert day, I need a top down.
Is that hunkered down 2 or hunkered down 1?
Hunker down, the original hunker down.
Original hunkered down.
That's the OG.
The OG.
Right?
Kind of like you, right?
Yeah, that's me.
There you go.
OG. All right. See you over on Channel.